I wasted years and years of my life. Don't do the same. Hi, I'm Sandy Wyllie. Welcome to my mental health channel, Mind Matters, where I wipe away the stigma of mental illness by talking about my own personal struggles, having borderline personality. I talk about narcissism and schizophrenia. I wrote a book, Life with My Schizophrenic Father, my childhood memoir. It also has about my autistic and traumatic brain damaged son in it. I've written tons of books about my unethical psychologist who sexually exploited me and had sex with me for years. But I only come on as a former patient of almost 20 years. I am not a licensed therapist. I do not hold a degree in psychology, so I cannot diagnose you. And all I ask in turn of you is your kindness and respect in the comments. Now, if you are new to my channel, welcome, welcome. Please hit that subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner so you can know when a video comes out. It's 100% free, so stick around, take a chance, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, your family on your social media platforms. The links to all my books are down below in the description. And if you want to support my channel, you can always buy me a cup of coffee. You can write me anytime you want to. If you don't want to say it in the comments, I'll always answer you back, whether you write in the comments or write in my private email, Leann, LEEANN827@hotmail.com. Now, today is a very important for me to get this message across about how I wasted like almost 20 years of my life in therapy. It ruined my life and turned me into an alcoholic when I never had a drinking problem in my life until almost 50 years old. I started drinking vodka every day. It damaged my son. It damaged my husband. It damaged my marriage. It damaged me. I'm a shattered person. I'm not the person I was before I got sexually involved with my therapist. I had affairs with two therapists. Dr. �ฤษีhis'𝗁 I had an emotional affair with and a physical one. And I had a sexual affair with Dr. 𝗤𝗂𝒗 that lasted years. And these two therapists, they were physically abusive, they were mentally abusive, they were verbally abusive, they were emotionally abusive, and I kept staying in therapy. I became a therapy junkie, meaning I was just like a drug addict. I couldn't let go of these men, of these doctors, and as a result, it ruined my life. So what I'm trying to tell you is, if you're in therapy or in a relationship that isn't therapy, either one, if you're in something, whether it's a relationship or whether it's therapy or whether it's a job or anything, and after a year or so you're not, you're feeling worse and you're not getting better, then it's time for you to leave, exit that, all right? Because I didn't see the signs. I became more and more, as these psychologists were seeing me, they were brainwashing me. I didn't know I was being brainwashed at the time because I had borderline personality disorder, I had severe anxiety disorder, I had post-traumatic stress disorder. And I didn't have any close friends. I was an only child. Both my parents were dead at 38. Back to back they died. My father died in the kitchen of cancer, and my mother died in the living room of heart failure within 3 months apart at their home. They died back to back. I'm an only child. I had no best friends. My friends deserted me because they were all wrapped up in themselves. I had a traumatic brain injured son who was an invalid in an institution, and I had no one to turn to. So I trusted these doctors. I told them things I never told anyone else in my life. I confided in them, and they took advantage of me. And I became codependent with Dr. �ฤษีhis'𝗁. I wrote a whole book on this, Love Bomb, by a Harvard psychologist. I became totally codependent on him. I could not function without him because he fostered a needy relationship in me where he said I couldn't stand on my own 2 feet. I couldn't live without him. I couldn't sleep at night. I couldn't eat. I was drinking heavy alcohol. And then when he turned his back on me, he still wouldn't let go of me. He was breadcrumbing me at that point. He would not let go of me. I had to walk away from him and go to the licensing board and report him. And I had to walk away from Dr. 𝗖𝗵𝗵𝗲𝗄 too and go to the board, you know, and file a complaint. And I got a lawyer and I went after him. And I did a video about that. I got compensation, but it ruined my life. So, you know, I'm an alcoholic over it. So I don't want you to make that same mistake as I did by staying in therapy or staying in a relationship that is harmful, all right? You might be in a relationship with, they're usually narcissistic men, okay? They could be men in power, or they could be just your boyfriend or whatever have you. But if something is harming you and you know, you're doing things you've never done before, like drinking vodka every day, that should be a big red flag. All right, I'm drinking vodka every single day. I never drank before. What I used to do is have like a beer on the weekend with pizza or a glass of wine or something. I never drank every day. Never. I'd only drink 1 or 2 drinks on the weekend at most, or during the holiday. But when I was seeing these psychologists, I turned, you know, into a heavy alcoholic. I even drank, I drove drunk, and I never did that in my life. In my late 40s, I got in a fight with my psychologist. I drove drunk and I crashed. I got in a head-on car crash, collision. I mean, my life became, it just completely shattered my life. I was already broken from growing up with a narcissistic, abusive mother, which is in this book, living life with my schizophrenic father. And my father was in and out of mental institutes all my life. So I already came from a place of trauma, all right? Then when I went to therapy, what happened was these psychologists re-traumatized me and, you know, love bombed me so much that I couldn't function without them. He brainwashed me into believing I couldn't live without him. And then when, you know, after he did that, then he put, you know, he pushed me onto this therapist who had sex with me and pushed me around and verbally swore at me. He spit in my face. He shoved me around. I mean, he did horrific things to me. And, you know, they're out for one another. They're protecting one another. They're telling me I'm the crazy one. I wasn't crazy before I went to therapy. I want you all to know that, you know. I was not crazy. I didn't have a drinking problem. I was working. I had friends. I had a social life. Now I don't leave the house. I don't have any friends. I have no social life. I have severe insomnia. Now I'm drinking vodka every day again. I'm really tormented, and that's why I want, you know, to, through these books and through these videos, to come on and tell you that in the beginning, it may be wonderful. You may be so flattered with whoever you're with. They might be flattering you. They might be love bombing you, constantly calling, texting, saying you're beautiful, you're intelligent, buying you flowers, buying you gifts, seeing you every day of the week, you know, really coming on, really, that's why they call it love bombing, you know, and like, wow, you're flying higher than a kite, you know, you get that dopamine rush, right? When you're in love, don't you get that? It's like a drug. It's just like a drug. They're listening to you in a secluded room, no distractions. You're the center of attention, and they're sitting there listening so attentively. No cell phone, no doorbell, no distractions at all. And they're telling you how beautiful you are, how special you are. They're listening to you. Who else is going to listen to me? No one else listened to me at all. And then I got caught up in it. You know, these men were handsome. These men were doctors. These men were charming. They had a lot of money. They had a lot of power. And I just lost my father when I started seeing him, and Dr. Richard Geis, he was 22 years older than me, and I just lost both my parents back to back. So I was looking for a father figure, and there he was, 22 years older than me, Harvard graduate, handsome, charming. He put the charm on thick, inviting me to his home in Maine, having me sit in his lap and grab his penis. Just having me in his house when his wife wasn't around, going to the park with me, a public park, me and him, rolling in the grass together. This one took me to bars. This is how I became into vodka. He would take me to bars. Bars every Saturday night, bars in the middle of the afternoon on Sunday after sex. As soon as he had sex with me. Oh, we got to get a drink. I said, it's only like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Oh, let's go. I said, but I have my handicapped son is coming over for dinner. We need to get a drink now. And he'd always have these vodka martinis. And then on Saturday night, we did drinks at the restaurant. Then we'd come home and go up to his bed. And what did he do? He'd bring a bottle of 𝗖𝗓𝗔𝗓. I mean, I wrote this in these books. He'd bring a bottle of 𝗖𝗓𝗔𝗓. I believe I wrote it in this book, Our Psychotherapist. Here's a great book I just wrote. Our Psychotherapists Sicker Than Their Patients, Why do people go into this profession? They go into this profession to heal themselves. That's why they go into this profession, because they're messed up themselves. And what happens is, more times than not, they mess you up. So I wanted to come on and tell people about, my husband tried to talk me out of going. He said, you got to get rid of them. They're destroying you. They're destroying our son. I won't go into detail about that, but they did. They destroyed my marriage. These therapists destroyed my life. I mean, I became, incapacitated, really. I became mentally incapacitated. I couldn't function on my own. I had severe anxiety attacks. Do you know what these therapists did to me? I couldn't leave the house without having severe panic attacks, all right, where I couldn't breathe. I was on the ground gasping for breath. I thought I had to go to the ER. A couple of times I went to the ER with bad chest pain. I mean, it was horrific. And if I could just get the message across to you people, about what I've been through, and so you won't make the same mistake as I do. In the beginning it's so rosy, and so wonderful, and it doesn't have to be just with the therapist. Like I said, if you see yourself acting in ways that you never did, like you're drinking or you're drinking more than you usually did, or now you're having trouble sleeping, or you have a weight problem, you're either losing a lot of weight or you're gaining a lot of weight, or you're either sleeping way too many hours or you're not sleeping, you can barely sleep. Or you're having more anxiety. If you notice something when you're in a therapy or a relationship with someone or whatever it is, a job, if you notice that you are changing for the worse, not for the better. It could be a friendship with a platonic friendship. Whatever it is, if you notice that you are changing, that, you're getting headaches now, or you're getting stomach ailments, or you see signs that you're not yourself, that things are changing for you, you're getting into bad habits, and you have to question this and say, what is going on? Since I've been with this person, or since I've been in this therapy, or since I've been in this job, it could be a job, I have changed for the worse. My life is not the same. You have to take back control of your life. And how I took back control of my life is, after like 20 years, I'm finally getting out of therapy. One therapist tried to have phone sex with me when I was crying on the phone in tears. He was asking me, how close to orgasm am I? On a scale of 1 to 10. How close are you? An 8? I bet you're an 8. And I was bawling my eyes out crying. I was crying. I don't understand how crying can be interpreted as sexual excitement. I go to the therapy. He asked me what kind of vibrators I use. And I don't even know why he brought that subject up. I didn't bring that subject up. He brought that subject up. You know, they would manipulate me. I told him about my friends. I told him about my friend Jimmy, who is handicapped. He was a man in his 40s at the time, and I helped cut his fingernails because he had no mobility all on his left side, and he was in a wheelchair. And you know what he said to me? Well, did you give him a blowjob? And I said, we're just friends. I just help him because he's handicapped. He can't cut his nails because his hand is like this. And I said, of course I didn't give him a blowjob. He goes, well, why not? Didn't you feel sorry for him? And I said, yes, I felt very bad for him. I felt terrible for him. He goes, well, why didn't you give him a blowjob? Can you imagine? This is a professional psychologist asking me these fucked up questions. Like, what? And it's just like, and I went to the board over here. You know, I was so desperate just for someone to listen to me, you know, just to talk about my problems, about my son, about my childhood living with an abusive mother, and about my schizophrenic father. And I just wanted someone to talk to. And look what they did to me. You know, they manipulated me. They brainwashed me. They had sex with me. They forced me into, I mean, it was horrific. So I want to get that message across. It's very important that I do. That when you're in the throes, in the beginning, they're not like that, of course. In the beginning, they're all, you know, wonderful, flattering, and attentive and caring. Always there. Call me 24/7. Call me in the middle of the night. Come to my vacation home in Maine. You know, here, sit in my lap. I'll hold you. I'll cradle you. I'll comfort you. I'll tell you how everything you want to hear. You're gorgeous. You're beautiful. You're intelligent. Everything. And then that's what gets you hooked, you know? And then once you're hooked, that's when, you know, they've brainwashed you so I've said it in many more, in all the other videos. I've written all these books about it, and I just hope that I can get, you know, that you guys, you out there, please don't make the same mistake I do. Don't throw away 20 years of your life on someone who, you know, has no care or regard for you and is out to destroy you, you know. Please watch out for that. That's all I'm going to say. All right. Till next time. Take care. Bye-bye.